Well, here we are with another episode of Champion Mindset. And I'm real excited to have Emily Downey on with us today. Emily is a Woodford County resident. She grew up here, went to school here, is raising a family here. She's currently highly engaged in the community. And I'm just really thrilled to have her on today. Welcome to the podcast, Emily.
Thank you for having me.
Emily, I'm going to give them a little broad overview of you, and I may miss some things, but it's kind of just a touch point so everyone can kind of calibrate their minds around kind of where you've been, what you've been doing, and then we'll go into more details. But Emily Downey, basically, Emily Downey is an experienced marketing and business development professional who has spent her career on global partnership, activation, marketing, and business development strategies, along with working in mergers and acquisitions for due diligence, culture, integration, and strategic vision planning. Emily has worked with the global agri-business firm Alltech and is now the president and CEO of EKD Strategies, a marketing and business development firm, while serving as the Woodford County Tourism Executive Director, president, and CEO of the Woodford County Chamber of Commerce. Emily is also the co-host of What's Up Woodford. And Emily proudly serves on the Woodford County Chamber of Commerce Board, Bluegrass Community Hospital Board, Lexington Arts Board, Advisory Council for Girls on the Run, and is the chairperson of EMERGE Conference and Commerce Lexington back in 2020. Emily, I know some things may have shifted a little, but at the end of the day, what I got out of this is you're a very busy lady. So we want to welcome you to the Champion Mindset podcast. It's on Ty Sparks' YouTube channel, and just welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I love what you're doing here.
Well, I appreciate that. Emily, when I look at this, give us a little, we're going to get into some of the more detail of some of these functions you're involved in right now. Give us a little background on, I'm going to brag a little bit on you because I know your grandmother, I know your Aunt Vicky, I know your husband's uncle, Tommy. I know a lot of people that know you, your brother James. You've been a fixture in the community. You went to school here. Give us a little rundown, just kind of how you got started, what influenced you, as you were going through the Woodford County school system. And then, just give us a little overview of that in regards, and also let us know about your family. It's a big snapshot. But go on, and we got plenty of time. Just going to give us a little feedback into who you are and kind of what got you moving in the direction you're moving in.
Yeah. Like you said, I was born and raised here. I'm a proud Woodford County and a proud Yellow Jacket. Fun fact, I went to every single elementary school, including St. Leo's, except for Northside. Of course, the middle school and the high school. And I absolutely loved my childhood here. I had a fabulous childhood. Walking up the street, I lived on Broadway, still live on Broadway now, and walked up the street to St. Leo's Fest when it was up there. And just the amount of people and the relationships that I've carried through my time in Woodford County, it's just a special place. After school, I went to Western, and I had a great time, go Tops, in Bowling Green there. And after graduation, I really, was trying to figure out what was next. Is it Nashville, like a lot of people do? Is it Louisville? Is it back home? And I had a really interesting opportunity with the World Equestrian Games to get on with Alltech. They were coming, that was in 2007 and 2010, they were coming, and they had announced they were coming, and they were building a team for that activation. And so coming from a marketing and business development background, I knew that's where I wanted to cut my teeth, and I had an awesome experience there. Through my time at Alltech, about 13 years there, I got to travel the world. I lived in Canada. I traveled and did mergers and acquisitions and culture integration, as you mentioned, mini MBA work over in Dublin, Ireland, and was doing the games in Normandy, France, and of course here in Lexington. It was just a phenomenal time to learn, to grow, to travel. And the more that I traveled around the world, the more I just kept thinking, why not Woodford County? Growing up, it was a great place to grow up, and I have absolutely zero regrets about that. However, sometimes people say, oh, to go to do something or to do the types of things you want to do to really make it, you might need to move out of Woodford County. And I just kept my heart just kept being pulled home. And I just kept thinking, why not? Woodford County is a great place, and we just need to tell our story. We can have amazing opportunities for not only me and my kids, but anybody that wants to stay, to be able to move here and to have a great life, or to, to stay and have multi-generations here. So that's exactly why I decided to come back and start to put my skill set to work right here at home. And I've loved every minute of it. My husband, William, and I, we went to school together. He likes to say he was a year older than me in school, but we reconnected at my 10-year class reunion, and we have 4 beautiful kids. 2 are at Southside and 2 are still young. But we, along with my parents, and we still live on the same street. We still live right downtown Versailles, and love all of what's happening. It is a true collaborative effort. It's private business, it's government, it's agencies, it's Parks and Rec, it's so many people, it's volunteers, and it's just everyone that is contributing. Even people that support local, that eat local, they are contributing to this revitalization that we're seeing. It's great energy, and I'm just thrilled to be a small part of that.
Well, that's what intrigued me because, I grew up in Woodford County, went to Woodford County High School, went on to Kentucky State. I worked locally at Texas Instruments and played basketball. And I just love Woodford County. I had a chance to go to Bluefield College and play basketball, and had a full ride with Dan Etherington, the Etherington family in Woodford County.
Yeah.
And I just made a decision that I was going to work here and cut my teeth here, at Texas Instruments. That's where I met your grandmother and your aunt. Knew them really well, great people. And so I ended up going to night school, and the company paid for it all. And, but the neat thing was I just saw what you did. I saw so much opportunity in Woodford County. Woodford County has been good to me. I mean, and I know it's been really good to you, and it inspired you and motivated you. And it's kind of brought us full circle to be able to get on this call together and kind of discuss our passion for Woodford County. And I'm just so excited to have you on. And when I hear and you reflect on your journey, it inspires me. So I know you're going to inspire a lot of young women out there. You're going to inspire other leaders in the community, everyone who wants to take on more of a challenge in what they're doing, or just be a part of the community and be supportive and helpful, and come together and help take us in, to the next generation as we go forward. So just thrilled to have you on here today. When I reflect back on where you're at right now, and you've been on a journey just to get here today, right? You and I both been on this path. And what's fascinating is that we got so much opportunity ahead of us, but we've had so much behind us that we can reflect back on to give us the energy and the excitement and the motivation to go forward even more, right? And you may know I started a Woodford County history site on Facebook. We got the Woodford County Historical Society. We've got a new history room over at the library, Logan Helm Library, which is fascinating to me. I've been digging some pearls out of there. And then it just got me kind of looking at families and inspiration. And I know, you grew up here and you've been inspired. Who in the community inspired you as you were going through your development? Is there any, I know your parents and probably family, you can give us that, but is there any other people? Give us a little feedback on what kind of helped you to get where you are today.
Yeah. Gosh, so many people. I'm glad you asked that. I'd be remiss if I miss anybody, but I think about teachers. I think about Terry Hamilton and Kyle Fannin, and there's just so many teachers that molded and shaped me, and they were cheerleaders, and they were guides and mentors. They taught me a ton, but they cared. And I just don't know how you can even articulate knowing someone truly cares about you. That's one of the biggest gifts that anybody can get. And I still, to this day, Mr. Fannin, he will challenge me at decisions that I make, or things that I'm doing, programs I'm running here at the chamber. And I love it because that's how he was in the classroom. And I love that we have the relationship that he can challenge me and cheer me on at the same time. It's those people that are real, those are true friends in a community. You need those people that keep you accountable and keep you pushing yourself out of the boundaries. But there's people at church. There's so many leaders in the church. I grew up at Versailles Baptist, and we still go there today. And I had just some amazing Sunday school teachers, and John Brandon, Brother Brandon, he married us, and I still to this day look for him for wisdom. And when he sends cards in the mail, he's not in town anymore, but he'll still read the Woodford Sun and send me notes of things that he sees that I'm doing. You know, you look at just there are so many people that have done so many amazing things, and it's relevant right now with Mayor Troggett announcing last night that he's going to step down. But there have been people in more recent years like Mayor Troggett, who is a colleague of sorts. He's a leader in our community, and he has really taken me in when I was kind of a new face on the block in terms of, you know, or working in Woodford County. And he kind of brought me in under the umbrella and said, hey, I'm going to help you, and I'm going to teach you, and I'm going to share the background, and you know, I'm going to give you a chance. And I know that all sounds so common, commonplace, but it's not necessarily. It's these people that create a village and say there's more room at the table, there's room for all of us, there's room for new ideas, there's room to expand. Let's use your skill set, let's use my skill set. We all have something to bring to the table. So there have been so many people in Woodford County that have been instrumental to me, honestly too many to name.
Well, you know, it's fascinating because while you're talking, I'm just thinking, my mind is going like this, and I'm thinking, man, you know, I wouldn't be talking with you without so many teachers and coaches. And, you know, when I reflect back, anytime I've won an award or something, I always feel like, well, we won this, you know,
Yeah.
it's Woodford County. And I've had
Yeah.
opportunities to work all over the world, and I've traveled all over the world, you know, Paris Heart Conference. I've been, you know, to Barcelona. I mean, I've been everywhere. And then this all happened from going to Woodford County High School, going through the elementary schools and meeting a lot of great people, a lot of great coaches, you know, learning discipline, challenging my status quo, working with other people to challenge their status quo, you know, because I manage teams of people now. But just the fact that I got that opportunity from going through the school system, having so many great leaders, and I feel and sense the same in you, right? I mean, you're clearly on a tremendous journey, and you're making so much progress every day. When I watch you, and I know you have a family of four, is that right? Four
Yes.
children. I
Yeah.
mean, just the fact that when I read your bio, I mean, it's incredible. I mean, I'm not just telling you that to tell you.
Oh,
But you know what? You take your energy and you put it in a direction to give back, you know, because you've gained a lot, and you seem to be a cross-pollinator of
yeah.
ideas and insights, and you're lifting people around you. And that's what motivated me to want to get to speak with you today, just because I've been watching you from afar for a while. And I thought, boy, when I start this YouTube channel, I've got her on my list. I really want to get her on here. But when you reflect back, Emily, on all those people that were, you know, instrumental in getting you grounded and focused and believing in you, we all need people to believe in us, right? And that never stops. I mean, but at the end of the day, you know, you're going to be mentors to so many other people, right? So what inspires you, or how do you challenge your status quo to get a little better every day, even though you're doing all these things? What do you do to keep yourself motivated?
Yeah. Well, I think you always have to stay humble. You know, we work in a digital age, and while I have a lot of experience now professionally, that world is changing every single day. And there are people that are younger than me that grew up with a phone in their hand and are savvy. And, you know, AI is coming, and, you know, there's just so many assets, aspects to everything that we do that you can't be an expert in all of them. And so it's making sure that you stay humble to realize I'm confident in my strengths, but I need a kitchen cabinet. I know Coach Cal wrote a book years ago when he first came to Kentucky. I don't know if that's a dirty word right now, Coach Cal, in the
Oh, it's
Bluegrass.
part of our legacy. We got to look at our legacy, right? I mean,
Yes, he
we
helped.
learn what to do and what not to do, and
Right.
people are looking at you and I every day saying, "Well, I'm going to take that and probably not." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a growth mindset.
Yeah.
This podcast is champion mindset, right? Growth mindset of a champion. And
Exactly.
when I'm hearing you talk, you're giving us an example of what that is,
Yeah. And
which
he
is
said,
fascinating.
you need a kitchen cabinet. You need those people that can be real with you, that expand your mind, that bring streaks to your weaknesses. And so I think part of what I do is I make sure to just keep those people around me and make sure my circle is wide enough, that my mindset is wide enough. I don't have, you know, I'm visioning with all these people, and I'm putting myself in uncomfortable situations to continue to grow. I think that's really, really important, because things are ever evolving. No one has a monopoly on good ideas. And, you know, I think it's really important also. The one thing that if I take away one thing, or anybody takes away one thing from this podcast, is I hope people always see people as people.
Yeah.
I think we are not one label. We are not one category. People are humans, and they are, we're complex creatures, and we hold a lot of different titles. And so I don't ever want us to get in this world of politics, or this world of, well, they're this and they're that, or I'm here, or I'm in this industry and they're in that industry, or this is different because, this is Kentucky and that's Tennessee. There's so many ways we can shape and form that. But at the end of the day, we're all better together. We all have a lot of hats. And I truly believe, as Kentuckians, and especially as Woodford Countyans, that we see so much alike. We have way more in common than we do that divides us. And if we focus on that, we focus on unity, we focus on seeing things from different perspectives, we can grow as humans and we can love as humans. And I think that's really what we're called to do.
Well, I had a growth experience in the last 5 years, right prior to COVID. We went through that crazy election, and wasn't really into politics, but what I've learned through that process is that we all can have a weak moment. And so what I've tried to do is, maybe I don't like to use the word rebound, but it's grow, right?
Right.
And so, that acronym grow, is what we use in business sometimes.
Right.
We have to get stronger, we have to kind of look in the mirror and challenge our status quo, and be aware that differences in insights, differences in opinions are strengths, and we don't always have to agree, but at the end of the day, if it gets you thinking, you know what? That opens up your mind, and that is a growth mindset, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I believe everyone wants safety. They want to be able to have a family that they can provide for. They want to be in a community where they're heard.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to be heard. We want to be in a community where we can grow together and learn from each other, and a very inclusive group, growing up. And I hate to go into this every time I get on one of these things, but just knowing we got so many minds out there that don't get an opportunity because maybe they live on the wrong street or they live in the wrong area of town. I know God's been good to me. He's blessed me. He's given me a lot of confidence and to take risks, and it's not always sometimes works out. But what I found is when you have the right intent, you have the right heart, and you care about people, and at the end of the day, you want to lift those around you, it's hard to go wrong, right? And that's what's got me motivated about being on here with you and being on here with other leaders and just people in general. I'm going to have a lot of other guests on that are cross-functional, cross-cultural. We're going to look at a lot of things and have some discussions, but that's really how we come together and how we grow and how we learn. And that's what I love about Woodford County. I think we're right in the middle of the AI scenario. I'm learning about that every day. NVIDIA, I'm investing in NVIDIA. I may get burned a little bit, but I love investing as well. But the point is, when you look at what's in front of you, what's around you, when I look, at the history and where we were, where we're at, and where we're going, that's why I love history, because it kind of gives you an indicator. We learn what we can do, what we can be better at. I think we all have, and that's what's got me so excited and motivated to be on here with you today, because I see you in that prism, and you just shared it with us, how open-minded you are, how you want to reach out and touch people, how you want to support people, how as a county, we want everyone inclusive, everyone valued. And that gets me really excited and jazzed up, because growing up on Oak Street over in the projects as a kid, I got on the farms on the weekend, but it made me realize how much we have in common, and athletics was a common thing we could do together, right? And that opened up, well, let's go to the movies together. Let's go bike. Let's go shopping. Next thing you know, it's just, we're family. We're watching TV programs together. We're talking about what are we going to do next? And it's just one beautiful family. And at the end of the day, our friends now, I love the cross-culture piece of it, where we got so much to bring together, and that's our strength, and I'm seeing that in the revitalization of Huntertown. I think that's an amazing thing we got going on, and that's one example of how Woodford County is kind of pulling us all together and looking for opportunities to share our history and grow together. So I know that's something that you've probably been a part of with the county. I mean, you got your hands on a lot of things, I know, but that got me excited. And then just looking at the industries that are coming into Woodford County. We've lost some industries like, Texas Instruments, Sylvania.
Yeah.
We lost GE, but we're making up for some of those now. I had Mayor Trogett on last week. He talked about some exciting opportunities we have that we've got coming up, which got me jazzed up. And then I had James on 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, and he talked about what kind of got him inspired and some of the things that he's pumped up about. Then hearing you today, yeah, that's 3 for 3. We're hitting it out of the park. So, Emily, when you look now at kind of, growing up in the community, looking at all those that influence you, looking at things that you want to do to make it a better community. When you look at where you're at right now, what are some things you're really excited about in the role you're in right now? I know you're still in multiple roles, and we'll talk about that. But the Chamber of Commerce, for example, I was walking down Main Street the other day, and I run into Miss Lane from Oak and Moore. She was just like super pumped, excited, jumping for a women's conference meeting. Okay.
Yeah.
And she was so excited about going to that meeting. What, and that's awesome that you guys are getting together and you're looking at ways to influence the community and bring us forward. But what in your heart right now are you really excited about that you've got your hands in the Chamber of Commerce?
Yeah, the Chamber of Commerce is a nonprofit. Not a lot of people know that, but that has been such a unique opportunity for me to get to have input or be able to hopefully impact in a small way, in some way, a lot of different things. We had a faith-based community meeting just about 10 days ago now, I guess. We're able to turn on a dime because we're small and we're agile. And one of the things that I saw that we needed, there are so many new faces in our faith-based community. When you look at our churches and, there's outreach leaders and, children's ministers and teens and all sorts of positions in churches. And what I realized was we have a lot of resources because we actually started a nonprofit roundtable through the chamber. We had some nonprofits that came and said, hey, we don't have full-time people. You look at the community Christmas, or you look at then there's everybody from the Humane Society and Life Adventure Center to Mentors and Meals. I mean, there's a ton of nonprofits here that are all serving excellent missions. And they said, we want to get together. We want to learn best practices. We want to talk about things together. We don't want to, we're not in competition. We're all here to serve a mission. We're here to serve a gap and a need in our community. We all don't have full-time people. We don't have philanthropists on staff or a marketing person on staff. So we need to share best practices, and we need to figure out how we do volunteers and how do we get the message out about our organizations. And we need something that's sustainable, and we want it to be kind of neutral ground. Can you host that? And so we started this nonprofit roundtable, and Laurel, you guys probably know Laurel Hofstetter from Midway, formerly Laurel Benson. Her and Cole run that for us. They're our champions as professional philanthropist. And so they help us to kind of lead that group to the chamber, and they've had awesome outcomes through a directory and nonprofit fair. But through that, I have learned about all these nonprofits in Woodford County and what they do. And I realized there's a disconnect between some of the needs and maybe these churches, because I think churches oftentimes are frontline defense to getting requests for maybe, can you pay this bill? Or I have a family member who's struggling with mental health or substance abuse, or, it could be anything from counseling to I need help in some way, shape, or form. These churches do a phenomenal job of giving back to the community. And so I wanted to bring them together at least one time and say, hey, here's a face with a name. Here's what all these people do. You don't have to shoulder that alone. You got a resource list, and here they are. And we had a couple hours of a meeting that was just good conversation. I know that sounds so small, but the fact that I can just see a need in the community and maybe be a connector, maybe that's the only role that I play. But I love that. I love bringing people together. I love trying to connect dots. I love trying to make us more efficient and more effective at what we do. I think that's something that the chamber does. So you mentioned the women's conference, though. I thought we would maybe have 150 people. It's kind of a stretch goal. The venue could hold 200, and we had a wait list. The energy behind these women that wanted to get together, that wanted to be inspired and to inspire each other, and just to capitalize on that energy and put it to good use in our community. It was awesome to see. So I love doing that. I love, we've got Twilight Festival, and we want it to be the largest community festival. We want to have the most robust kids zone, free things for kids to do. We have the most music. We have 3 music stages all day long with music, different music acts all day long, all free to the community. We have a health and wellness fair in that. You can get free screenings, and there's just so many free vaccinations, free all sorts of information, and different folks that are going to be in the health and wellness fair, blood pressure checks, all sorts of things. So we are trying to really hone in on this, being a community pillar, trying to provide for the community in whatever way that looks like. Today, it looks like the programs and events that we do, but that could be different tomorrow, and we're going to be ready for that change. If we see something else that comes up, we're going to be ready to move on it and ready to, be information or resource, whatever it is that we need to be for the community. We're ready to be that. But we have some really cool things going on. I won't bore you with all of them, but I encourage people to check it out on our website and join in on the fun, because night market tomorrow night, it's going on. There's just so much happening.
Well, that's so exciting to see the vision that you're pulling through, and by connecting the community through the churches, because you could see where one church is trying to do so much and they feel like they're out on an island, and all the churches, if they're on islands, and you can bring them together and connect the islands, it just gets more resources and more support, to all the citizens, which makes sense. It's not really that common sense, though, because we're probably not doing it because there's got to be someone to connect them, And I did the Strength Finders many years ago, and connector was one of my strengths, which is kind of weird. We're saying you're connecting, right?
Mhm.
But it's just interesting because that is something that has served me well, to help me help others, right? And I've always felt like, I had a lot of people helping me, when I went through the school system. Of course, I needed extra help occasionally. But not, but I ended up doing, Woodford County was so good to me, athletics, sports. But then when I got into college, I got really serious about my education. Not that I didn't care. I did care in Woodford County, but you got to have a C to play sports, right?
Right.
And then, but when you get into college, I think they brought out the competition and the academia with me a little bit. And then I decided, well, I want a 4.0, Well, then you got to be cracking books, right? But that's part of the literacy program in the county, right? How good are we at getting those athletes to understand the why behind and get them competitive in the classroom? I'm just throwing that out there. I don't even know if that's been thought of. I'm sure it has, because you got coaches saying you're not going to play if you don't, you have to have a certain GPA to play. When I was going through the system. But I'm just going off on a tangent. I went from churches to sports, but again, there's no zone that we can't touch if we're connecting and supporting each other, right? That's just another example. But so you were involved, bring the women's groups together, the churches together. When it comes to tourism right now, I know I listened to Matt Jones' show the other day, and I caught you on there talking about everything Woodford County has to offer, right? I think you did a little clip on there, and I thought it would be cool for the audience to kind of hear through your lens, maybe, not to put you on the spot, but if you had to tell everyone out there about Woodford County and how you could rate with the other 100 and how many counties we have in Kentucky? 120, something like that?
Yeah, 120, yeah.
Okay, so we probably think, in my mind, Woodford's probably number 1, right? We have the lowest unemployment typically, right?
Right.
We have a community that is taking us into the future with our leaders. We're connecting with each other. I'm hearing that come through. You're reaching out through different media streams. This is one stream on YouTube, right? And this will go to Spotify, YouTube, other channels. But at the same time, you're taking your energy and your focus and your commitment, and you're working on your status quo. You're also working on the status quo of your staff, people around you. You're being someone who touches others and tries to grow and learn from them and transfer that over to other people, right?
Right.
So when you start looking at Woodford County and you had to say, hey, you got a couple of minutes, 3 minutes, what do you think puts us in a whole nother stratosphere in your mind?
Yeah. Well, we're working on a birthplace of bourbon campaign, and so I have to say that. But we really are, there's Bourbon City, which is Louisville, and Bourbon Capital, which is Bardstown, and so we're working on really laying the stake to that we're the bourbon birthplace of bourbon, and I think that's important because we are telling our story in a way that's never been told before. You know the history better than anybody. We have such rich history and tradition, but sometimes we don't toot our own horn and we don't tell our story in a coordinated, fashion. And that is kind of where we maybe have been that pass by state or that pass by county, or we just get on the peripheral. People will come in and pop into Woodford Reserve and they go back to Lexington or Louisville or wherever they're coming from. But what I told people, and I meant this in the pandemic, and I still mean this now. Jerry Hartley always said there's this thing as Woodford County charm, and I think that's how it's best described. But it's our people. It's a special place, and you can feel that. I was doing an interview this morning with a student. She's doing tourism at EKU, and she, as a project, needed to interview me. And what I was telling her is, it is so special. The characters in our story are our people, and it truly sets us apart. And the way that we're doing economic development, you're not seeing the big TI, you see Blue Oval every now and then, and you see big developments like that, but you're not seeing those huge companies coming in much, right? Like that's kind of not the way of the world, but we pride ourselves on that. We're not a motor coach community, and we don't want to be one. We don't want to bring a bus full of 50 or 100 people and on our small farm lanes and into our distilleries, and we love and specialize in what we are, and we're really capitalizing on that from an economic development standpoint. Just because, government is funded primarily in some cases by occupational tax, we don't have to and we want everyone to have a job, but we know our unemployment rate, which we're really proud of, as you said, is one of the lowest in the state, and has been traditionally. So we know that we have a lot of jobs that are filled, which is phenomenal. And we want everyone to be able to have jobs and meaningful jobs and the kinds of jobs that they want. However, we are a smaller community, so I guess what I'm saying is bigger doesn't always mean better.
Absolutely.
It's just doing the things that we do well, and that's where I think we have hit a stride. We differentiate ourselves from other surrounding counties or other places because we're unapologetically that Woodford County charm. Our signature industries, it matches everything we do, from our downtown experiences in Midway and Versailles to taking a drive out to Millville or on Pisgah. Every inch of our corner, every person that you meet is just going to give you that special touch. And it's a really special place in every single way. And so I love that our economic development and our growth is kind of matching this preserved rich history and tradition, and that's the experience that we're talking about in tourism. People want that. People are paying for that, and because we're not conforming to what other people are doing in this huge just grow mindset, I think we are preserving ourselves to a place where people can come. And we have a slogan on the Joyride campaign that says memories are made on the back roads. People have those memories. That it's true. It rings true. People know what we're talking about when we say that. And I think that is so important that we stay true to ourselves. We stay true to what we do well. Bigger doesn't always mean better. It means doing what we do the best that we can. So I think that sets Woodford County apart. And that's kind of the tourism message. But it's our people 100%, day after day, time after time, that are that secret sauce. They're the characters in our story. And now it's just about telling our story to the world.
I love your vision and your insight and the way the charm that you mentioned with the people, because that's really what drew me back home. I was working in Florida for a year and I had my home here. I never did sell. I was going to sell it and move to Florida, but I went down there and I kept my home here. My wife was up here with the house and I was in Florida, but we went back and forth a little bit. And then I was down there for about a year, and then I decided, I miss Woodford County. I want to go home.
Yeah.
And I still would come home on the holidays, and I had my pets back here. All my friends were in Woodford County. And it's not just being a homeboy, because I got out and I traveled and did it all, but I was like, it just don't feel like I feel at Woodford County. And
Yeah.
so, and you talk to the charm of Pisgah. You talk to that ride down McCracken Pike as you go, down Glens Creek and see it down by the church where I just purchased another home and remodeled it.
Yeah.
It's 1 mile from the Woodford Reserve. Castle
Yeah.
and Key is another mile,
Hmm.
probably down the road. You just can't get that beauty anywhere else. And you don't get that peace that you get when you get out there and there's racehorses galloping. You can hear them galloping. You can see their breath in the morning when it cools off. You see the leaves turning. You can see the squirrels chirping and playing on the rock fences.
Yeah.
When I do those things, it just makes me think of home, right? And so that brought me back home. I've never really been gone. I went that 1 year to do a job for Abbott Laboratories, and I still was with Abbott, but I've decided to switch over to AstraZeneca, and I've been out there now for 13 years, and they got me back home, and it's been a blessing, and I love it. And I've always had a home here, but just the fact that I can get what you're saying about that hometown charm, and to know that we're going to have some expansion. That's going to be part of the process, but there's a lot of thought that goes into that, which I think is brilliant. It's genius because it's keeping that hometown charm that you talked about, because the people and the land go hand in hand, and we work the land. All
Yeah.
of us at one point has been on the farm, working on the farm, doing something as we grew up, right?
Yeah.
And I know I was talking to Mayor Troggett about that. And of course, he grew up out in far Woodford County on a farm out there as a kid. He's hands-on with that stuff. And I know, you've had family members and everyone's been involved. Anybody here in Woodford County has touched the soil, picked something, grew something,
Yeah.
right? And then what I love is we just don't bring in every other business every day. We're real picky about who we bring in. So I think that's awesome. We got a vision and we're trying to work off the people to charm the land. That is just incredible. Emily, where do you see, if you had to, looking at where we've been, where we're at now, where do you kind of see Woodford County in the next 5 to 10 years with technology, with growth, with opportunity? You may not see it a ton different, but then you may see us more intertwined, even the way we're bringing downtown Versailles together to get us even closer to where we can enjoy activities together with the renovation of the park, as an example. I can see where we've changed the mindset and the shift around having more access for people, having more opportunities for people to come together. And you guys started out with the Twilight Festival and with the businesses where you have a day periodically where business can come set up downtown, and people can come in and get us together and get us shopping and get visibility around all of our business. But where do you see us in 5 to 10 years in your mind?
Yeah, it is a fun, we're on a fun trajectory, and I want to ride this wave as long as we can. Our high school is just about to be complete, and I think that is going to be an amazing asset and will impact so many lives. The school system in general, I highly encourage you to talk to Danny Adkins and Ryan Asher and those folks that are doing the Kids Win. They have kind of new mindset curriculum, a pathway program, really intentional about being placing those students and giving those students the education they need to be in the workforce tomorrow. And it's what our workforce needs. It's what we need right here. How do we create those opportunities for those students? It's a new kind of mind shift in the
I
way.
didn't realize we were doing that because I came from old school when we had that originally.
Mhm.
We had the technology center in the school, that's what got me promoted and moved up at Texas Instruments. Is I went in with a engineering design background, in drafting and technology. And so when I got over there, a job opened up. They said, "We'll throw you in there, but you got to get your degree. But in the meantime, you can do the job until you finish your college education." I go, "Great." So
Yeah.
thank you, Woodford County, right?
Right.
So, and that led to promotions and more money. And then I got me interested in furthering my education. And then I went on and, completed 3 degrees in night school. But the point is some kids just need that start, right? Because
Yeah.
I'm one of the first ones to go to college in my family. And sometimes you just need that little trigger to get someone interested. And I think sometimes when you start looking at college degrees and there's so many of them. We got so many people with student debt these days that may not ever make it up, depending
Yeah.
on what their degree is, right?
Right.
If they didn't get the support and they borrowed the money and they got to pay it back.
Right.
Now, if we do have something that gets me pumped at the high school because there's so much need in the community for services where they could have their own business if they did an apprenticeship with a
Exactly.
business for a year or two, then they could start their own business, right? I mean, there's so much opportunity. I think there's more than one way. There's multiple ways to feed the system to give people opportunity post high school, and
Yes.
that sounds exciting.
It's awesome. You look at the private investment in downtown, and around the community. There's some exciting projects. The city closed on the TKC deal yesterday. That's going to be amazing. There's a ribbon cutting on Monday for the new horse facility out in Edgewood. We are just on such a fun trajectory that it's like all this, everyone's moving in the right direction. There's so many people rowing boats, but they're all going in the same direction. There's this connectivity between nonprofits and churches and government and school and for sales and Midway. There's a kind of historical comedy between the two, where people will joke and say Midway Road is 7 miles there but 20 miles back home. And you don't see that anymore, right? Like there's collaboration between what Versailles and Midway are doing. There's just so many points of collaboration, and that I think is the key to our success. You can't take that for granted that just happens, and open lines of communication happen. Trust is built in these relationships, and it's at so many different levels, but it's exciting to see, and I think our community is going to reap huge benefits from it. What Rich and John Gay and the Parks and Recreation System are doing, there's huge advancements in neighborhoods, and of course in Big Spring Park, and opening that up. To have a park in a downtown corridor is awesome. We're very fortunate to have that. And then to be able to open it up in the way they are, where it can, that can lessen if there are any, things that are maybe unsightly or, any kind of bad activity. When it's opened up and there's transparency and light, and it's not kind of hidden behind buildings. That's such an opportunity for us, and all the things that they're doing down there, services that we're providing, Woodford Wheels, staff transportation. There's just so many people doing amazing things, and I think it is all coming together. So I see the next 5 years being so exciting, and I hope that we ride that wave for many more years past the 5 years. I want my kids to be able to reap all these awesome benefits, and you and I, as we age here, to be able to enjoy the same.
Well, I'm blessed. I've worked with Rich and John on that Parks and Rec committee, and only been there about 9 months, maybe coming up on a year, but it's been fascinating to be a part of that and to see that work behind the scenes and the commitment from the people that are on the board. And then we really listen. We have people come in all the time and they'll bring in questions, and I'm really impressed with that entire board, and it's fascinating to me. And I'm growing as I'm on there because I've got an open mindset and a growth mindset. So I'm always looking out for what's going to be best to help us grow as a community and bring us all together. And we're doing a lot of those projects. I think it's going to be awesome. And then I'm also blessed on the Hall of Fame board. I just got on there. I'm finding out how much work it is, which is great. But they're going to get me busy with social media and kind of help push that. I've been doing that as well, which has been fun. But we've got a lot of baby boomers in the community who are aging and getting older. I happen to be in that group, and I'm thrilled. I'm still locked into the technology because of my job. I've stayed into it. I'm always wanting to learn. I created a YouTube channel, just things I like to do to bring us together. But one thing I wanted to tell you really got me spirited on was this Woodford County, Midway, Nonesuch, Millville, coming up and playing sports. And James and I talked about this. I played for the Simmons Bulldogs, and that was my world. We went over to Nonesuch. Well, we're going to beat Nonesuch. Well, Mortonsville. Those little communities, they saw them as the community, and they are. We love them, right? But as I've gotten a little more tenure in my life, I've realized we are one Woodford County. And I've noticed that when I started the history side, I've had a lot of people say, I said, Woodford County is really proud of our basketball team in Midway, 1937 state champions. Woodford County proud. And they said, that has nothing to do with Woodford County. That is Midway. I got a kick out of that one. I said, we are Woodford County now.
Yeah.
Now, Woodford County High School didn't win that. Midway did.
Yeah.
Paul Noe was a hell of a player on that team. I know Paul. But
Yeah.
the point is, when I go down there and I go in the museum and we start talking about I'm talking about how proud I am of Logan Hill Library and our history piece up here. I'll go in there and they say, "What do you think, Ty, about what we're doing?" I said, "Aren't we awesome? Your
Yeah.
all's is awesome. Woodford's is awesome. It's all Woodford County, baby. We're number one." And they get
Yeah.
a kick that. But Midway's built this unbelievable community down there. I mean,
It's so
it blows.
special.
I don't know if you've seen any of my posts, but I take pics down there every time I go. It blows me away. I go to the cemetery. I think that's where I'm probably going to have my resting days. I'll tell Bob Rouse, "Hey, you got to now adopt me." And he's going to say, "Well, why am I adopting you, Ty?" I'm going to say, "Because I'm a Midway College graduate, brother. And I'm down here at Midway every day eating and walking and hiking. But I'm
Yeah.
also in Woodford County on South Main walking and going through the cemetery there. Maybe I can split and put half of me in Woodford and then half of me up there. But I love both of them. You know, we got so much beauty. And I can see, what we've done with the newer cemetery that's expanding out past south side. That
Yeah.
one expanded. And then
Rose Crest.
the cemetery, the old cemetery, which is the real historic cemetery, which fascinates me. I'm always reading headstones and looking at history, everything, Civil War, North, South, all of it. I love it.
Yeah.
And we got so much here that, we could bring in people just to come visit. We don't necessarily, like you say, want to widen the roads too much, put too many more houses in certain areas, but we got so much to be proud of and so much for people to see. We didn't even touch on our world-class horse farms, right? I mean,
Yeah.
if you think about it, I mean, it's phenomenal. I promised you 45 minutes, so I've already killed that by about 7. So I just want to thank you for hopping on here today. Do you have anything you would like to tell the audience before we part ways? Any
No,
insights?
just we are always open if we can help in any way, shape, or form. We are here at the Woodford Business Center. It's us, tourism, and then Economic Development Authority. Visit woodford.com has an app and it has a free event calendar. You can add your events, you can check that out. Go to the website or the app. But that's, we want to be a place of just a community hub, and you can find us digitally for that, or you could come into our office. But thank you so much for having me today. I really appreciate it.
Well, Emily, I tell you, I'm just fascinated by the office. If people haven't gotten in there and seen the handouts about Woodford County, the different areas, and it's a beautiful chamber. What's that office, the Chamber of Commerce, that office that I go in when I see you back there? What's it?
Yeah, it's 3 parts. It
Okay.
is tourism, it is EDA, Economic Development Authority,
Okay.
and it is the chamber. It's the title of it is called the Woodford Business Center, and I think the point of it is that nobody cares who answers their question. Just when they have a
Right.
need or a question, they want to know what to do, where to go, who to talk to, how to start a business, and we want to be that one-stop shop. We want to be that smiling, familiar face, and so that's who we serve out of here. But yeah, so we do it all. We do it all from here. Lucas Witt is our EDA director, but we work closely with him and help facilitate any
Is that
requests.
the LCA, Lucas Witt? That went to LCA?
Yes, he did.
Well, he
Yeah.
played basketball with my son, Grant Sparks. So my son went to
Okay.
LCA and played with Lucas. Lucas
Yes.
was a year behind him in high school, which is pretty cool. But I know the Witt family.
Yes.
His mother is Kathy, right?
Yes, Sheriff
Yeah,
in
I know
Lexington.
Kathy well too. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
small world. Tell
Very.
Lucas I said hi, and hey, I just want to thank you for hopping on here. It's been fascinating and really insightful, and I really appreciate you taking time out to get on the growth mindset, champion mindset, and share your passion for Woodford County today.
Oh, well, thank you for what you do, and thank you for having me.
You take care of yourself. Have a great week. Okay.
You too.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.